Yo, welcome to another episode. Let's See Plants. I have a special guest. She was named one of Wisconsin's most influential leaders in 2020. She graduated from UW-Madison. She was featured in New York Times and Census magazines. She's a social activist, an entrepreneur, content creator. Welcome, Payton. Payton. I'm gonna say Payton Manning. I'm tripping. Payton Wade, my bad.
That's usually how I tell people like how to pronounce my name because they don't be hearing me all the time. I'm like Peyton Manning.
Oh shit, my bad. I was moving too fast.
It's all good.
Yeah. So you transitioned, you moved from Milwaukee to Dallas, right?
I did, yeah.
All right. What made what made you move to Dallas?
Yeah, so I was just looking for new opportunities. So I graduated from UW-Madison in May of 2020.
Okay.
So then I had a job, but obviously that was during COVID. And so I
Mm-hmm.
moved here to Dallas and they told me that they were downsizing, so I lost my job. Um,
Mm.
so at that point I was just down here like doing DoorDash and Instacart trying to make some work. And eventually I got a job with UW-Madison, but it was remote. So
Okay.
I was really just looking for like new opportunities. I knew I didn't want to stay in Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's comfortable and I wanted to be a little bit more uncomfortable. I feel like I could grow more in that type
Yeah.
of situation. So it wasn't ideal because I moved down here, I had a job and then I had to figure stuff out. But it all worked out. I mean, I love it here. I don't plan on moving back.
Nah, I don't blame you. I was in Houston last week.
Yeah, yeah. It's nice
Man,
out there. Yeah,
yeah, I ain't want to go home. I loved it.
yeah, it's real nice.
Heck yeah. So how did you adapt to Dallas? Was that
It's
difficult?
it's real different from Milwaukee. So I feel like Milwaukee is. I just get the vibe from people that we not always trying to help each other for real. So like, it's like I'll help you as long as you're not doing better than me.
Right.
But here in Dallas, I feel like people really help each other. They make it seem like it's enough room for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've met like just a whole bunch of people that I feel like are on the same thing that I'm on, like young, black, trying to do something different and really make it out here.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a real difficult transition. It was just different because like I wasn't really. I feel like I had my guard up, meeting
Mm-hmm.
people, not really knowing their intentions and stuff. So, excuse me. So that was probably the hardest part, but it wasn't real hard of a transition. It was just kind of like finding what I wanted to do, figuring that out, finding friends, finding a job.
Yeah.
But also just being like 22 and trying to figure out life during COVID, it was hard in that sense.
Yeah, I can imagine. I definitely get that type of vibe in Texas that
Yeah.
people's very friendly. That's my first time going to Texas,
Okay.
and me and my guy, we were talking about that. Like, people in Milwaukee, they got that crab in the barrel mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
yeah, I definitely feel you on that part. And being
Yeah.
around Texas people, they seem very friendly. They seem very helpful. Because I went out there to network for my podcast, and
Okay.
people was very willing to come on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Some people here they want to charge me just get on. Like, damn.
No, people it's so different down here. Like people want to
Yeah.
help each other, especially black people. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've met so many people that are just trying to like figure out how they can help me, how they can connect me to people. Like and then I do the same thing when I meet people. I'm like, oh, you need this? Like I know somebody who does that, and just the network that you build down here and the way that people really want to see you win, it was just very different than what I'm used to.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I definitely would love. I would love to move down there. I'm gonna be back and forth to Texas.
Okay.
Once I get everything situated with my personal life, I should
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
But heck yeah, no, I definitely like it out there. So what inspired you to be a No, before I even ask you that question, what was your major in school?
Yeah, so I majored in journalism and
Okay.
strategic communications. So originally I went to school to do pharmacy,
Okay.
but I did like a few of them classes, and I was like, "This not for me." Like I was in chemistry and all of that. And
Yeah, I
I'm
feel
like,
you.
it's not the same as high school. Like I was good at the stuff in high school, but then I got to the college level, and I'm like, "Yeah, no, this is not what I want to do." So I ended up applying for the journalism school, and it's like one of the top journalism schools in the U.S.
Hmm.
And that's really I just picked my major that way, and I really don't. I guess I kind of do what my degree is in. I do social media content for insurance company, but I used to do it for like UW Madison. I did it for SMU down here in
Mm-hmm.
Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And it go hand in hand with like communications, but when I was in college, it wasn't like a social media degree or like a social media program. And different schools they seem to have that now, so it kind of go hand in hand because like communications, but yeah.
So, what was the obstacles you faced while getting your degree? Like, how did you? So, basically, what I'm asking you is, how were you able to balance your personal life and going to school? Because when I was in college, I went to MATC,
Hmm.
and some certain stuff I went through
Yeah.
dealing with my personal life and going to school. So, how did you maintain focus
Yeah,
through
my
that
mom
journey?
actually went to MATC. Um,
Okay.
yeah, but it was so I would say going to UW-Madison, my biggest difficulty was just like the transition from high school to college to like such a big school was hard. So I
Okay.
went like obviously high school, I was in classes with like 15 to 20 people. And then I got to college and I was in lecture halls with like 300 to 400 people. And
Mm.
it was just real different to adjust because it's like your teachers, they not own you, they don't know you. You really kind of teaching yourself. So it
Yep.
was difficult to transition into not just being on my own for the first time and a college student, but also happen to learn how to be a student amongst 300 other people. So that was hard, but also the racism was real difficult. Yeah, it
What?
was like it was real difficult. Like just microaggressions, like little things. I'm at the dorm and people like you could tell when you walk around like they like look or like they don't hold the elevator door, like just little stuff like that. But also I dealt had racist encounters too, just like in the classroom. Like I'd be one out of maybe two black people in my class, so it was difficult. So
Mm.
UW Madison has I think about like 50,000 students, and when I was there, less than 1,000 of them were black. So
Oh, okay.
it's a big disparity. And it was just difficult dealing with like that on top of being a student. Like it's already hard enough to be a student and to have to like work. I worked all while I was in college, and then I also got to deal with the racism on top of that. So that was difficult.
Wow. Yeah. A lot of people don't know who don't live in Milwaukee. That's something we
Yeah,
definitely experienced.
yeah,
Very because Milwaukee is very segregated for
yes,
sure.
yeah.
Oh, damn. Oh, I want to comment on something you had said about school.
Mhm.
Like, cause even though MATC and your school two different like orange and apple.
Yeah,
I'm only saying that way because you was in the class with like you said 300 people.
yeah, yeah.
Like I was in the class with maybe like 10, 15, 20 people.
Hmm.
But I'm bringing that up to say is that it definitely is different from high school
Yeah,
because teachers not really on you. It's really up to you
right.
if you don't do the work and then they just move on. You got to play catch up and then it's just kind of yeah. I just wanted to piggyback on that.
Yeah,
But
once
back
you
to the
behind, it's hard when you catch up in college.
definitely, I definitely want to talk about the racism.
Hmm.
But before we do, I will what I want to ask before we switch topics, what are your advice for any college student that's struggling to, to overcome procrastination and
Hmm.
maybe racism like yourself?
Yeah. Um, I would say like find your community. So it was really life changing once I found my community at UW Madison. I joined the Black sorority. I found
Mm.
friends. And that was life changing to just be amongst people who are going through the same situations I'm going through, experiencing the same thing. So I would say find your community because like you're not the only one feeling like that. Like it was people from all across the U.S. who came to this college and they were feeling the same way I was feeling. So to be able to go through something with other people who are experiencing the same thing as you was very helpful. And I'll just also give yourself grace because like we young in college doing things that a lot of people don't get the opportunity to do or don't get the chance to do. So just allow yourself to take the time that you need, focus on your mental health and balance things because once you get behind, it's hard. But find your community and your group of people for sure.
So, was that the start of your you've been a social activist?
Yeah. So it did start in college. So long story short, the university had put out a homecoming video in
Mhm.
2019, and the theme was like "Home is where we are," and like it was like WI for Wisconsin.
Mhm.
And so they filmed different organizations, and my sorority we were filmed, and we recorded with them for like an hour and a half. And then they put out the homecoming video, and not only were we not included, but there were no students of color included in the video at all. So it was just
Mm.
white students, and they're like, this is what home looks like here at this campus. So I made a tweet just really expressing how I felt, like nothing serious. I didn't think it would go nowhere, but it ended up like taking off, going viral. I woke up and I had emails from like the vice chancellor, like, can we talk about this and figure this out? And it just really blew up from there. So from there, I started an organization with a few of my
Mm-hmm.
friends. It was the Student Inclusion Coalition,
Mm-hmm.
and we worked with administration and like with the chancellor, the vice chancellor, and all of them to try to get to figure out what we were gonna do. So we ended up re-recording the video, kind of to counter their video, and just say that like we're here, like, you know, y'all can't say this is what home looks like and not include us.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, it was just a lot of other stuff that came out of it. We ended up having a Divine Nine Garden Plaza for like all the Black Greek fraternities and sororities.
Mm-hmm.
So just to have like that representation on campus, because when you one out of 50,000 and
Mm-hmm.
you don't see people that look like you, it's kind of, you kind of feel like you're not wanted there and you're not welcome. So from that, the movement really took off. We were able to get some money moved around to different
Okay.
organizations and stuff like that. But that's kind of where the activism came from, like from the racism that I experienced there.
So, what was the challenges have you faced in your activism work, and
Yeah.
how have you overcome them?
I would say some of the biggest challenges. So like while all this was going on, I'm also
Mm-hmm.
a full time student. I was working two jobs, and I was
Right.
also like leading the social movement. So it was just a lot to balance. It was a lot mentally. It was draining to deal with, and then I also had people on social media like commenting saying you shouldn't even be there. Like you don't deserve to be there. I had death threats. Like
Damn.
it was crazy. Yeah.
So
Um,
like you getting a death threat? Does that like made you like no? Let me go back to Milwaukee. I ain't got time for this shit.
I ended up going back home for a little bit because, like, obviously,
Mm.
for people who don't know, Milwaukee and Madison is about like an hour, maybe hour
Yeah.
and a half drive. So I ended up going back home for a little bit because it was just hard being on campus. Like, I felt like people were like looking at me weird, and because they knew who I was at that point, it was on all the
Mm-hmm.
like news stations, and the school was talking about it. They put out an email about it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the vibe was just really weird on campus. So I did end up going home because I'm like, I need to be around my family, around people who I know love and support me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was helpful, but it's like I still had to go to class, so I could only really go home for a weekend or a few days, and then I had to go continue dealing with everything.
So, what made you what made you continue to still go to that school? Because most people would have just dropped out and just went to a different school.
Yeah, I'm the type of person where I feel like once I start something, I gotta finish it.
Mm.
I had wanted to go there for like a long time when I was in high school. I had like some friends that went there and they really liked it. And so for a long time, I was like, this is the school I want to go to. And it was the last school I got into. But I just knew that I couldn't let them win. Like I had to finish, I
Right.
had to get my degree. Like I had too much riding on this. I had to, my parents, they sacrificed so much for me. I'm like, I need to see this through and finish it. And I knew that's what people wanted me to quit and leave because they're like, you know, you should just leave. You don't deserve to be here. So I feel like I had something to prove at that point that not only do I deserve to be here, but like I'm about to get my degree too.
Now I feel that one. I applaud you to to keep going because most people in our culture they don't know how to deal with their emotions
Yeah.
and they act they act ignorant.
Yeah.
And for you to still keep your composure and standing on business,
Yeah.
I definitely applaud you on that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So, but what I so like what like oh wait. So what I want to ask is what advice would you give to someone who wants to get involved in social act activism, social
Yeah.
activism, how you say that word?
Yeah. I would say, like, really just start, like, just do it. Whatever you're passionate about, it's so much going on in
Mm,
the world right now. If you're passionate about it, get some people that's also passionate about it, and really just start speaking up and speaking your mind about how you feel about this stuff. Because
all right.
these schools, like, I was paying to be there. Like, my parents are paying for me to be here. So I'm like, I deserve to be at this school. Like, I'm here
Hmm.
just like the rest of y'all. So I would just say, stand up for whatever it is you believe in. Don't be scared. I know it can seem real scary going against like a whole institution,
Right.
but you're a student there, and like their job is to listen to their students. So I would just do it. Like, just start and get some people together and start speaking up.
Man, for you, I applaud you.
Thank
I personally never, actually, I never experienced any racism. I have,
you.
but not to your degree. So I definitely applaud you for staying strong.
Thank you.
Um, so by you being an activist, are there any current events you are worrying about?
I would say I'm pretty up on like the things going on in the world, like politically. I
Hmm.
also grew up in politics. My dad was a city councilman for all my life, basically.
Oh,
So
okay.
I grew up around politics, and I've been in that a lot. Like, I was also on the Milwaukee Youth Council when I was in high school. So I've always been kind of around activism, but in the background, I would say I never really wanted to be like that person that was um, the face of everything.
Yeah.
But I would say now, like, I've been doing just research on everything going on in the world, like the stuff in Palestine and Israel,
Hmm.
racism that we deal with on a day to day as Black people, women's rights.
Hmm.
It's so much, like, I feel like it's almost too much stuff to like hone in on one thing. But I just, stay aware of everything that's going on. I wouldn't say that I'm like actively participating in anything, but like when I see stuff, like I'll share it, I'll repost, I'll
Yeah.
share stuff with my friends and express my opinions on stuff.
I see. Now, last question before we switch topics. Are you still in contact with the school that
Yeah,
UW? Yeah. Are you still like communicating with certain people that's still there or no?
yeah. So actually, when I had moved here to Dallas and I didn't have a job, and I ended up getting a job with UW-Madison, I got it from the vice chancellor that I worked with as a student activist. So because we were able to work together, and like she saw my leadership and my work ethic, she was able to offer me a job on her staff. So I'm really close with her. I'm cool with a lot of different professors that were kind of in the background helping me during that time. But it's also been a lot of change. Like, they got a new chancellor and stuff, so it's been a little bit of things that's changed since I've been there, like 4 or 5 years
Okay.
ago. But I'm still real cool with the vice chancellor and a lot of the people who helped me during that time.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So based off this conversation we having, I can tell you're a determined person. You're very vocal about how you feel.
Yes.
Um, so did that inspire you to be a entrepreneur? So
Um.
how did that journey started for you?
Yeah, so I feel like I've always known that I didn't want to work for somebody else for the rest of my life. Like, I've always wanted to do my own thing.
Yeah,
I've always had like multiple jobs and multiple streams of income.
yeah, me too.
So it's always kind of just been in me. But
Now, quick question: have you been fired before?
no,
Oh, okay, never mind.
no, I've quit a few times,
Oh,
but I ain't
never
never been
mind, never mind.
fired.
We can't relate.
Yeah, no,
Go ahead, we can
I ain't
talk.
never been fired, no.
Okay, my
Um,
bad.
but I guess I've always wanted to kind of get into entrepreneurism and do like my own thing. I just never really knew what to do.
Yeah.
So I've always been around people who, like, I have an aunt who got me into real estate.
Mm.
My dad, he does real estate, and my mom, they've always had different properties. So I've just always been surrounded by people who've been entrepreneurs. So it's always been something that like I've strived to do. I just was kind of trying to find my path and exactly what I would be doing.
Okay, so what motivated you to start your own Airbnb?
So I was at the point where I was working for SMU, not making that much money. I was trying to
Mm-hmm.
figure out like how I could make some more money. I had picked up a second job at Nordstrom, just to like figure out how to make ends meet. But it was just really exhausting because like I worked from 9 to 5 at SMU, and then I had to work Nordstrom like 6 to 10. So I
Mm-hmm.
was just like tired and exhausted. So from that, I really wanted to find a stream of income that would make its own money, and I didn't have to go in to do it every day.
Hmm.
So I talked with my aunt who has done real estate really her whole life, to figure out how I could get into Airbnbs, and she has a few properties down here. So I was able to talk to her and create like a management position where like I manage Airbnbs out of her houses. And my parents, they also have an Airbnb in Milwaukee actually. So like I've seen how it can work and how you can really pay for a lot of things with it. Like my parents pay for their mortgage with the money they get from Airbnb.
Mm.
So I've always just wanted to kind of like parlay the stuff that I'm doing, and that's really how I got into it. Just seeing how real estate can really change your life, and then having people who are able to help put me in those positions to really get it going.
So, what's your advice for anyone who want to get into it? Because I would love to start
Yeah.
Airbnb. I heard mixed reviews. They say it's slow money. What's your perspective? Man, I'm actually too many questions all in one. So,
No,
first question is. So,
yeah.
first question is, how can someone start?
Yes.
What's, that's the first question.
Yeah. So obviously I wasn't in no place where like I could buy a home and do
Mm-hmm.
Airbnb. I was luckily enough to have like someone who had a home, and like she was trying to sell it, and I'm like, you know what, just let me do this, and if it make money, like we good. But if you don't have that situation, I would say a lot of times apartment complexes allow people to have like Airbnbs within their apartment complexes. So I would start there.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a really good place to start. So like you sign the lease, but you're using it as an Airbnb. Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so that's a good place to start. But like make sure that the apartment complex allows it, because I've also seen people just do that themselves, and then like it's an issue, and they call the maintenance people, and they like y'all not even on the lease. So just make sure you find an apartment complex where they allow that, and that's a good way to start because I charge like I charge like 250 a night at my place. So if if you got somebody, if you book every weekend, you're paying the rent already for an apartment, and you also will have money left over as well. And then you can continue doing that until you're able to get like a house or something where you can own it. So that's how I would start.
Okay. So, now is Airbnb in your opinion, is that slow money too? Or no?
I feel like it depends. So I've done it for almost a year now. I started in October of last year, and I've
Okay.
had like slow seasons, I would say. So there'll be some months where I might be booked like 2 weekends and like a few days during the week, but not like every weekend. But I really just feel like it depends. My parents, they book every weekend, like all the time, and
Mm, okay.
they have found consistent money with it. But it's sometimes where like I have multiple people trying to book, and I have to like turn people down. So
Okay.
it's not. I wouldn't say it's slow money, but it also depends like on the area that you have the Airbnb, how many people it houses or sleeps, and just where you are too. So like in Dallas, they'll travel to Dallas for like birthdays, things going on. So it's a really popular city. So I
Okay.
found a lot of success here because of that. But I think it just really all depends on like the things I mentioned. If it's like gonna really get popping right away, or if but it could be slow seasons too. So yeah,
Okay. Yeah, because I overheard someone maybe years ago saying how
hmm
like Airbnb is slow money, and I was kind of like hesitant, and then
yeah,
I would love to move to a different state and
hmm
buy homes in Milwaukee,
yeah,
but I'm like, I want to get Airbnb, but I was kind of hesitant because what
yeah.
I've overheard. So that's what made me want to ask you that question.
Yeah, no, it really all depends. Like, I mean, my parents they booked every weekend, so like sometimes I'll go home and I'm like, am I able to stay
Hmm.
in the Airbnb, or and they like, nah, it's booked. So, it just all depends on the place and the price. You got to stay competitive with the market for sure. But I would suggest it. I think it's a very passive stream of income.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. So I know you have a digital shop, right?
Yes.
So tell me more about that. How did that
Yeah.
start, and how long you been
So,
having it?
I've had that maybe like 7 months now.
Oh, okay, you started. Okay.
Yeah, so it's pretty fresh, but like I do a lot of like digital. I create a lot of digital things. I wouldn't call myself a graphic designer, but I do a lot of kind of close to graphic design type of things. And I was just doing research on like different ways to make money and different things that you can do. And this was something that I saw, and I'm like, I already create stuff. like create different graphics and stuff like that. So I was like, let me just create this shop. So I create like t-shirts, I create different things like cups, mugs, tumblers, really anything that I want to create. I'll see things that are trending or seem cool, and then I'll just put it on my shop. And I've been able to make like a few thousands from that. So it's very lucrative.
What's the name of your shop?
It's
Is
called
it
Payton's Place. It's on. I can send you the link. It's on Etsy. So yeah,
okay? So how can people get in contact with you to for your work?
yeah. If you search Payton's Place on Etsy, it should pop up.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Now, last couple questions on this topic.
Mhm.
So you've been an entrepreneur. One of the things you do is a content curator. Now, how did that start?
So I started doing content for like other people. So I
Okay.
worked with UW-Madison for their social media. I ran their Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And then I shifted to SMU and I did their Instagram and Facebook. And I also started doing like web design with them. But
Hmm.
I originally started doing content for like big universities. And with that, I was like, I'm already creating content for other people. So I'm like, let me just try to start doing something for myself. So I just started on like TikTok and Instagram, creating different like day in the life or outfits or tips for doing this or how to become successful at this. I promote my Airbnb through my social media content.
Hmm.
But it was just something that I feel like I was already doing. So I'm like, I feel like I can use this to my advantage for me personally. And yeah, I feel like I've been doing content for probably like 2 years now. Like
Okay.
personally, yeah.
So how did you overcome the fear? Because sometimes people who want to be content creators, they
Mhm.
be worried about what others think and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, my degree in journalism, so I'm kind of used to being in front of a camera and like
Hmm.
broadcast type of thing. So I didn't really. It was hard to kind of overcome that. I started off with YouTube as well, and I had for my YouTube channel, I was like talking about student activism. I talked about my move to Dallas, and it's hard to just like sit there and kind of like talk to yourself to a camera, but I
Right.
tell people all the time, like, just post your content. Like, you got to get to the point where you're doing this for you, and regardless of the likes, the comments, or the shares, like, I'll post something. I posted something like last week, and I got like a few thousands of likes and like maybe like 100,000 views or something. But then like I posted something today, and I got like 200 likes. So it's like I'm gonna post it regardless because I'm not
Yeah.
doing it for like the likes and views because I know some stuff it hit, some things it miss. It's the algorithm. It's difficult. It
Facts.
change all the time. But I just had to get to the point where I'm like, I'm not posting to be like, okay, I got this many likes. I'm posting because I feel like I have quality content, stuff that people will want to see and learn about, and also have to remind myself that like I might not be getting that many likes sometimes, but it's reaching somebody and helping somebody.
Yeah. That's one of my mindset as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
Because like when I started this podcast, I was a little concerned,
hmm
worrying about what people say, stuff like that,
yeah,
and and my goal is if I can just reach to. I mean, my goal is if somebody listens to this interview right now, they've been inspired, and that's
yeah,
fine with me.
exactly. Yeah,
And that's a goal.
yeah,
Heck yeah, I definitely hell, yeah, I definitely agree with that.
yeah,
So to switch topics,
yes,
I know you real big on women's health.
yes, yeah.
So what are some common health concerns you think women should be aware of?
Yeah. So I live in Texas where like women's rights are very different than I feel like the rest of the country.
Mm-hmm.
Texas is very like a red state for sure, and that was also an adjustment when I moved here. Like I feel like my health care and stuff was more accessible when I was back home, and here it's just kind of difficult. I feel like I got to jump through all these hoops. Um,
Mm,
but I think also just in the black community in general, I try to stress like health is wealth and like taking care of your health because a lot of times we see things that people could prevent. Like if you do this now and you're like active now, even if you just move for 30 minutes a day, that's beneficial long term. I also was like an athlete for most of my life. I played soccer, so like I'm used to kind
okay.
of being active and that type of lifestyle. Um, but I think as far as women's health, particularly right now with like the women's choice to rights to their bodies when it comes to like abortions, birth control, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm definitely an advocate for like pro-choice,
Hmm.
and I've also been just kind of trying to encourage women to just make decisions for themselves.
Right.
And don't really think about everything that society's going to say. Like, if this is something that you think is what's best for you, then like you should do that. So I've been trying to like push that agenda, encourage women to like speak up for themselves when they're at the doctor or when it
Mm.
concerns their health, because so many times, especially as Black women, like people don't listen to us when it comes to our healthcare needs.
I agree.
So just be speaking up for yourself and making whatever choice you feel like is best for your body.
Yeah, I agree because I know someone who went to the doctor and she telling them about her problems and the doctor just pretty much dismissing it or
Yeah,
recommending her get some recommending her to get birth control,
yeah,
and she like I don't feel comfortable taking birth control,
yeah,
and then now she feeling like, well, maybe if I was white would she be acting this way, so it
yeah,
make a person like discouraged to want to go to the doctor, and they try to
yeah.
figure things out, and sometimes that can make things worse.
Yeah.
So
No, it's difficult. When I was back home, my doctor, once I moved from like um pediatrician and like kids doctors to like a adult doctor, my first doctor I really had a hard time with because
mm,
she was like Catholic and trying to kind of push her agenda and her ideas on me. And I'm just like, I can make the decisions about my body and about what I want to do. Like I don't need your personal opinions. Like obviously your professional medical opinion, I appreciate, but it was just difficult, and that kind of discouraged me from wanting to like go to the doctor every year. And it's important to really find somebody that you trust when it comes to like a primary care physician. I think also being here in Dallas, there's so many Black people who are in the medical field that's been so helpful. Like I really feel like when I go in, the person is listening to me and they care about me, and
okay.
it's a comfortable space, which is different from I feel like back home because it's not as many Black doctors as you'll see in like the South, somewhere like Texas.
Yeah, because I don't think too many black doctors in Milwaukee.
Yeah,
I probably seen maybe one. I don't
yeah.
know.
You don't. It's not. You don't see them often, like for sure. Yeah.
No, you don't.
No.
So I want to ask, how do you manage stress and maintain mental wellness in your daily life?
Yeah, it's hard because I feel like I'm always on the go. Like it's always something that I'm doing, whether it's like I work a regular 9 to 5 job and then I'm like, okay, I need to record content or edit content. So I feel like I've had to tell myself to like take a break and find a balance. So being able to prioritize working out and going to the gym, that helps me mentally.
Okay.
Spending time with my friends, like after this, me and one of my friends here, we going out later. So finding
Okay.
out that balance of like going hard and working and getting to the money, but also prioritizing like my mental health and doing things of self care. Like I like trying new things here in Dallas. That's just fun, and it allows me to kind of like take a step back from the fast paced lifestyle. But
Hmm.
you gotta make it a priority. Like I had to when I didn't make it a priority, I felt the difference in my life. So I would
Okay.
be stressed or I'd be depressed or it'd be hard to get up and go to work. I was also at like a toxic work environment, but
Yeah, I
um,
can relate to
the,
that.
yeah, the little things become so much more difficult when you're not prioritizing your mental health. So I would just say being able to like make it a priority within your life.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, last question about this topic. What changes or advancements in women's health are you most hopeful about?
I would say I'm really hoping that women we get to a point where like women have the right to make decisions about their body everywhere. Like I've heard stories of women having to like travel other places to try to terminate a pregnancy that wasn't beneficial
Yeah,
for
it's
them.
crazy.
Like they had
Right.
to it's a point where like you have to choose you or the baby, and like people won't allow you to choose yourself. So I would hope we get to a point where it's just not even a conversation anymore. Like I don't understand why we're talking about what a woman should be able to do with her body. Um,
Yeah,
when it
freedom of
comes to like
choice.
medical stuff. So
Yeah.
I would hope that we get to a point where like I'm sorry, I'm gonna keep let me try
No,
to
you good. You good. You
um
good.
I thought I had this on Do Not Disturb. But I think getting to a point where it's not even a conversation, like it's just seen as second nature. Where like, yeah, a woman should be able to decide what she wants to do with her body.
No, definitely, definitely. So to to switch topics,
Yes.
I see that you recently went through a procedure, a breast reduction.
Yeah, yeah. So last year I had a breast reduction about a year ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So I'm a man, so I don't know,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
well, like to the people who don't know
yeah.
about that problem, like your breast was too big that was hurting your back. Like how? Like
Yeah.
what,
So
explain that experience.
yeah, so it was actually like medically it was seen as like a medical necessary surgery because of everything that I was going through and the problems. So it was I was having like back problems, shoulder problems, neck problems, and it got to a
Damn.
point where like you know how when you work out you just sore and in pain, but like
Yeah.
afterwards, but I would be like in pain working out and it started to discourage me from working out, and I was like, this not even me. I enjoy going to the gym. I enjoy working out. And once it got to that point, I was like, okay, let me go to the doctor, get a consultation, and see if this is an option. So it is like it can be seen by your insurance as like a medical necessary surgery. So I didn't pay for
Yeah.
anything because my
Okay.
insurance saw that like, okay, she really needs this. And it's been like so life changing. Like I've been able to work out more comfortably. I've been able to not have like the pains that I was having, and
Okay.
I never even thought it was really something that I'd be able to do, but it was my doctor was like, yeah, like this is something you can definitely do. And from that, I've also built the community on social media of women
Okay.
who are going through the same thing. Um, they're like, I've been considering this, and like I appreciate you being so like honest and transparent about it.
Yeah.
So it was like I was kind of debating for a long time sharing my story on social media about this because it's like obviously personal, and people have like different opinions about stuff like that. But I've really found a community that I've been able to help through sharing my story. Like women,
Yeah.
they'll DM me asking questions about the process, and then like 2 months later they'll be like, I did it, and like I'm so thankful for like everything you share. Like you were the reason that I was able to go through with this. So stuff like that reminds me that like I need to continue sharing my story, and I need to continue like advocating for women and encouraging them to do what's best for their bodies, because especially like in today's age, people hear or see that and they just like, why would you do that? But
Right.
when it's like so heavy and weighing you down every day, like people just don't understand how hard it is and how much of a struggle it really was. So it was,
Uh,
yeah, I had it about a year ago, and from there I've been able to create a community of people who I've been able to help from just like sharing my story.
so, is there any tips or advice would you offer to someone who considering this procedure?
Yeah, so I'm actually in the process of making an ebook where like I go through everything as far as like how to get your insurance to pay for it, the cost, finding the right doctor, things for recovery afterwards. But for tips, I would just say start with talking with your doctor about any pain that you're having, because a lot of insurance companies they need that history of showing that you've had a issue with this for a while, and then from there get a consultation to see if your insurance to pay for it.
Okay. All right. Cool. Cool. So, we was going back and forth, inboxing each other.
Yes.
You mentioned about you have your own podcast.
Yeah, yeah.
So, tell me. So, you got your own podcast called Bree and P.
Yes.
So, tell the listeners about the podcast.
Yeah. So I have this podcast with my friend Bree. We both moved here to Dallas from different places. So like I moved from Milwaukee, she moved from Portland, Oregon. Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah, and we connected about 2, 3 years ago.
Okay.
And we're both like very successful within our careers. She's successful in tech, and I'm successful in like marketing, social media type of world.
Okay.
So on our show, we talk about being able to balance everything, like being that person who has you're working, you have to do all of this, but you also want to have that balance of like a social life, working out, doing things for you.
Right.
We also talk about our experience here in Dallas, so we go to different places and talk about things that we like to do and how we feel about different new things and fun things here in Dallas. And we also just have like girl talk. Like we talk about relationships, friendships, just the things that we're going through as young Black women, in our 20s trying to find ourselves and be successful.
I see. I see. So how can people tune in?
If you go on YouTube and search the Bree and P podcast, our episodes are there. We typically drop twice a month. We trying to get to the point where it's like weekly.
Okay.
We're taking a trip to Vegas next week, so we'll be like vlogging and like showing, having an episode there while we're in Vegas. So that's coming up. But yeah, you can find us on a podcast streaming platforms as well. So like Spotify podcast, Apple podcasts too.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Now, um, see, actually, we should collab. I just actually
Yeah, we
a
should.
little
I mean,
thought.
if you ever in Dallas for sure, we definitely have.
Oh, for sure. No, I'm gonna be there for sure.
Okay, yeah, just
I'm
let
gonna
me
be there for sure. I
know.
got you. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I know. This is pretty much one of my last questions.
Yeah.
You keep mentioning your parents, so you can't.
Yeah.
So first, how old are you first?
I'm 26.
All right.
Yeah,
So you came. So did you come from a two-parent home?
I did. Yeah,
Wow, that's
yeah.
good. All right. So reason why I'm saying it's good because I have questions to ask you.
Uh
So how long your parents been married?
huh. They just celebrated, I think, 31 years, like last month.
So you don't have no kids?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
No.
So let me ask you this way: Do you see yourself being married?
Yes. Yeah.
So you're just not. I'm just asking from your personal perspective.
Hmm.
Do you believe 50-50? You believe a man supposed to pay all the bills? What are your perspective?
Yeah. That's a really good question. I feel like especially in like today's age and
Yeah.
society, I wouldn't say that like I'm against 50-50, especially being young, like I'm in my 20s. I'm not really expecting a man to come in and be able to like fund my whole lifestyle and take care of me. So I definitely think 50-50 where I am in my life right now is realistic.
Right.
I think, you being able to bring your half and me being able to bring my half, especially like not being married, like I think 50-50 is very realistic in today's age. Like life is expensive. I'm not sitting here expecting somebody to come and be like, oh, you know what? I got all your bills. Like if you would have asked me that
Yeah.
in my early to like 21, 22, I'd probably been like 50-50. But as a mature person who's experienced how expensive it is to pay for bills and live, I definitely think 50-50 is something that's should be seen as okay. I don't have a problem with it. I do feel like I want to be in a situation where like a man is providing and like taking care of me as a
Mm-hmm.
husband.
Yeah.
But I'm the type of person where like I'm always gonna bring what I need to bring. So it even if it's a situation where my husband like he something happened and he can't take care of the family, like he lose his job or something, I'm gonna be in a position to be able to step in and like take care of what's going on. So I've never been the type of person where I'm like I don't want to do anything and I just want to be taken care of. But I think as a woman, just naturally wanting to be in a situation where like a man can provide for you, but I'm also gonna be able to like step in and provide for us if need be, and bring whatever I need to bring and pay for within the relationship.
Yeah. You know, I definitely respect your answer because I feel like a woman should be allowed to be in her feminine,
Yeah, yeah, like
be
soft
feminine.
lifestyle. Yeah,
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 soft girl era, as they say.
yeah,
And I believe a man's supposed to go out and provide and stuff like that. But it seems
yeah.
like social media really ruining these people minds these
No,
days.
they do.
You
Yeah,
know, it's just crazy how most men think like that men versus women topics is
yeah.
crazy to me. You know.
It's wild. And even like within my parents' marriage, I've seen where my dad was the sole provider and like my
Mhm.
mom worked part time and um
Mhm.
paid for, smaller things in the household. And then it became a point of time where that flipped and my mom became the sole provider. And so I think just being able to have a partnership where whoever can step in when they need to. I've also come to terms with the fact that I expect myself to be real successful and make a lot of money. So I may end up married to a man where I'm making the most money. And I
Yeah.
think that's different now because before, like, obviously back in the day, women ain't work or nothing like that.
Right.
But now
Right.
we're seeing where women are very successful, making a lot of money, and we may be the breadwinners in the relationship. And I think that's kind of why the conversation is starting to come up, because things are different now. Like, women are making money, women are
Yeah.
taking care of themselves financially. So I think it's a point where it's like, okay, you have to, if I could take care of myself financially, like, you need to be able to help me in other aspects of my life. And that's where what I find important, because I don't need someone to come and like take care of me, but if you can sit here and support me mentally and be able to encourage me to pursue my goals, like when I'm like, I don't want to do content, or like I'm tired, like encouraging me to do
Right.
this, because this is what I need to do. I feel like it's just different nowadays.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
No, definitely, cause I come from a two parent home too.
Hmm.
My parents got a divorce when I was a senior in high school, so I have an idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
But just talking to my dad in the past and
Yeah.
how he expressed, because my dad was the breadwinner,
Hmm.
and he expressed how tired he was,
Yeah.
working long hours and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and take care of the household. But my point I'm saying to say is that I, like watching him and him experience how tired he was,
Yeah.
it just made me like I wouldn't want that much responsibility on me unless I have it like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think like I said, it's just social media just ruined these young people's minds,
It is, yeah, and
and
people
then
don't, yeah, they
no,
don't
go ahead.
know, like what people are talking, and they haven't even seen like healthy relationships, healthy marriages. Like,
Yeah,
it's it's not easy to be married to somebody forever. Like, it's not easy
yeah,
dating people long term. So it's like you have to be in a situation where I feel like if you need to step up as a woman or as a man, like financially, and like it switches, or you just gotta put in more than what you've been doing. I feel like you have to be in a situation where like you're okay with that. Like, I don't see a problem with 50-50. If you're an adult, you should realistically be able to take care of yourself, honestly. So
I
if,
agree.
yeah, if somebody's coming in, they're like, I got mine and you got yours, like paying 50% of the bills is gonna help me regardless, because now I got half of my money that I would have been paying by myself, that now somebody is coming to help um do. So I'm like, I feel like you winning regardless, even if it's 50-50. So I don't really understand the issue.
Yeah, no, I think the issue is, I think most people, I think my opinion, just my perspective. I'm gonna
Yeah.
say that before I speak.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people put their trauma on others,
Hmm.
and sometimes most women doesn't never had that male figure in their life,
Hmm.
and then when they get into relationships, then they expect their partner to do things that they could never receive as a child. So if a woman
Yeah.
grew up in a household who never had their father in their life, that's why some women be so masculine and aggressive because of that.
Yeah.
Same with men. Men would be, they never had a woman in the household or never had a father in their life.
Yeah.
That's why most men carry themselves the way how they do.
Yeah, no, it's
So
definitely like what you experience as a kid. Like, my dad has always told me, me being like having my own money and being successful, like I can choose the man that I want to be with. I don't have to be with a man because he needs to take care of me. And that's just always
true.
sat with me. Like, I want
That's
to be in a
very true.
position. Yeah, I want to be in a position where like I can choose who I want to be with, because I'm good financially without you. But like, it would be great to be with you and become a partnership, but not because I'm dependent on you. So like I have to be with you.
Your dad must be a God fearing man.
He is, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a God
Yeah,
fearing man right there.
yeah. He gives
Yeah.
this advice for sure.
No, that's a great advice. That's
Yeah,
super great advice.
yeah.
So you the only girl?
It's I got a younger brother. It's just two of us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Your dad, your dad definitely hit it on the nail. So this
yeah.
is my last question I want to ask you. What qualities do you most? What qualities do you value most in a potential partner?
Um. Oh, that's a loaded question. I feel like trust for sure.
Okay.
Just being able to, especially in today's age, like it's so much coming at you in relationships, like testing your relationship, and you just got to really have that trust with somebody. Um, I think also someone who I'm looking like someone who pushes me
Yeah.
to be a better person, because I feel like I have a lot that like like I have it together in a sense of like I could take care of myself financially. I'm in a good place, but like I want someone who's gonna push me to do more, as I would push them to do more, and us to be able to like build and grow together. Uh,
Yeah.
I also think someone who's just like respectful and understanding. I feel like I'm like always on go, so I need someone who's gonna remind me to like, okay, take a break, take a moment, and pause. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, see, that's good. That's good. That's good. Well, that's all the questions I have. I want to say thank you for giving me your time to come on here and
yeah. Thank
share
you
your
for inviting
journey.
me.
Oh yeah, for sure. And whatever I can do to help you boost your podcast, whatever,
Yeah,
let me know. I'm looking forward to working with you too.
no, for sure. Yeah, when you're here, just let me know and we could collab for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm definitely gonna let you know.
Yes.